Hello and welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the FSF PopCast Live Edition, the show that would like to remind you that there are worse sayings than saying Lothrat, Lothcat, Lothwolf, run, pick a path, and all will be done.
What?
Come on, that's from Star Wars Rebels.
You know, I have not seen Rebels in a tad bit, so...
Clearly in a hot minute here, yeah.
I knew about the Lothcat, but everything else, I'm like,
yeah,
what?
It's Lothrat, Lothcat, Lothwolf, run, pick a path, and all will be done.
I am a Loth boy.
Oh, look, we just lost all our subscribers. Yes, Jason and the Three Geeks podcast. It is definitely Monday. We are back around being back to Monday again. So, ta-da! Here we are.
And before we get into tonight's show, let's say our thanks to our show partner, Level Up Sabers.
And what he's really trying to say is before either one of us breaks out into song again.
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF.
That was the wrong video.
Show's over. See ya.
And goodbye. We're out of here. Okay, we're off to a great start.
And the links for Level Up Sabers can be found in our show notes and comments section.
They're in there. Also, now, if you're here and you're watching on YouTube, we want to ask that you guys please go ahead and click that subscribe button if you haven't already. That helps us to be able to continue to grow, get some great guests for you each and every Friday. And there's other ways that you can support the show as well. There's, of course, clicking that link there and buying an awesome lightsaber, which is guaranteed to be better than a stick. Master Allen from Level Up Sabers guarantees it himself. And in case you haven't seen it, as it says across the bottom of our screen there, we have a Patreon account. That's right. With 5 different levels going from $1 to $40, there's something in there. Okay, I thought you were going John Cena on me. You can't see me. Anyway, there's something in there for everybody. $1 to $40. And there's different levels of perks. There's bonus content. There's behind-the-scenes stuff. There's bloopers galore. I contribute to those mostly. There's merch that you can get at different pay levels that is free with your subscription. You don't have to pay a dime more for it. It gets shipped straight to your door. And there's even the opportunity to buy your way onto the show. I don't know how else to put that one, but yeah. So it's a thing. But yeah, and we have our Patreon only Stargate review show, the Stargate SG-1. We're in season 1, and I think we've got a total of 7 or 8 episodes recorded. We just released our 4th episode, and we're starting to get into the good stuff. We're getting away from the Emancipation episode, which was
our lowest rated.
Yeah.
Episode.
Good evening, Jay. And no, this is not where I'm normally at. I'm at home in a different room, in a different space, trying out something different. So it might stick, it might not. We'll see. And no, I don't know. I think she's saying we're not pretty.
You know
I think I'm pretty.
Wait till you see my Superman impression.
Waiting. Okay, so anyway, Jason says Tim must miss you because he's in a bedroom. But yeah, so go check us out on our Patreon page. Check us out here, of course, on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do that. But enough with the pleasantries. Let's jump right into it. We got people waiting to come on to the show.
All right, let's welcome our guests to the show, Mike and Nick from the Showboys podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank
you. Howdy, fellas.
I just want to say one thing right off the bat. Kathleen, if you only knew how hard Stash was trying to bring the beauty tonight. I mean, he's got the hair blowing in the wind. He was eating some very delicious looking ham. Like, he's doing all he can to bring it tonight. And I don't know. I just thought
If he's not pretty, he's at least majestic.
Yeah,
Today's
exactly.
color is pink.
Let's see. Well, first, Jason says she's not wrong. Yeah, that's true. Without Kathleen here, we are a wee bit uglier. That is for sure. And I don't know. Practice what is your best Flynn Rider smolders.
All right, you ready for the smolder?
Nailed it.
That was good.
All right, and Jason is loving the fact that you have embraced the name Stash. Mainly because we have two Nicks here tonight.
Yeah.
And otherwise, it was going to get a little confusing if we just said Nick. Because then they'd both go, yes, maybe. I don't know. All right. Hey, before we get into anything, guys, tell everybody where they can find you and tell them what you're hawking over there.
Yeah. So you can find all of our stuff over at showboysmedia.com. We have our backlog of episodes and all that fun stuff over there. And we're on all the typical podcasting platforms, but we focus most of our attention on YouTube. So if you want, just type in youtube.com/showboyspodcast. It'll take you right to our page. And you can subscribe over there. We're actually, we have a road to 1,000 subscribers giveaway going on. So subscribe. And once we get to 1,000, we're going to give away that nice, there you go, that nice OLED Switch over there that Pixel Nick's holding up. We're trying to give it away. So go subscribe. Tell all your friends to subscribe, and we'll get that to somebody.
You're only going to get the box because the contents are going to be shipped to my house. But I hope you guys really do enjoy the box.
Yeah, we had to pay our way on here somehow, right?
Hey, if that's what works, I accept it wholeheartedly. Now, I want to give a quick update. We are at 793 subscribers because somebody just subscribed to our page just a moment ago.
Nice.
So thank you for doing that. Now, when we hit 800, because I'm not at the office tonight, so let's pretend that I'm not holding up my iPad, but I'm holding up a beautiful Blu-ray copy of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1 on Blu-ray. So whoever it hits 800 on our channel, if you're the 800th subscriber, you get a chance to win that Blu-ray. Just make sure you have your subscriptions turned on. I have to be able to verify that you are number 800 and so that I can get in contact with you and we can make arrangements to ship it off to you. But we'd love to be able to do that for you. And on our YouTube page, not our YouTube page, but our Facebook channel as well, we'll have an opportunity with some trivia coming up here soon because we'll have 2 extra copies other than that one to send off as well. But yeah. Let's see. Fate Maker Gaming wants to know, have any of you had the plans to play through Jedi Survivor? The story has me hooked.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Some on to playlist.
Mine as well.
It is far down on my to playlist, but it will be played one day.
Yeah, the third wheel of Showboys has recently beat it, and he is in love. So it's the best Star Wars game to date.
I've been watching a lot of videos about it and a lot of streamers, and that alone has me itching to buy it.
Is it a sequel?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a sequel to the first
Order.
To Fallen Order.
Okay, I've got some catching up to do then.
Yeah, Fallen Order was a really fun game. It was a little wonky in some of the controls at times and how it played through. But from what I understand and what I've read and what I've heard, they fixed all of that with Jedi Survivor. So
that is the word on the street.
Yeah, and Cal can have a mullet, so that just automatically makes it 10 times better.
And a stash.
Oh yeah, he can go full bore 4th of July American like Jedi.
Yeah, it's more like Redneck Survivor, but yeah. Yeah. He needs to have like Sweet Home Alabama playing whenever he comes like rushing in with his double-bladed lightsaber. It's pretty entertaining. So I've seen a few people do that. I've seen a few other tiki-takis people doing that, and playing different redneck classics.
Oh, that's great.
And I can say redneck because I live out in the country where the men are men and other things are scared. So, anyway, before we get well off the beaten path, because we are headed that way, let's go ahead and talk about tonight's topic. So we're pretty excited because for us at our show, we talk about Star Wars year round, but especially during the month of May, we try to heavily concentrate for the entirety of the month of May. Not only with our Star Wars RPG, we, each of our live shows every Monday are Star Wars related. Every Friday we've had something Star Wars related. The past 2 Fridays we had Josh Brenner, the voice of Niku from Star Wars Resistance, was our guest. This past Friday it was Kyle Newman, who's the director of one of my all-time favorite movies called Fanboys, which if you've never seen Fanboys, what are you doing with your life? And then
I own it.
I watch it so often. And he's got another one that's coming up, but we'll talk about that more towards the end of the show. And then we'll also talk about who we got coming up for this week, Friday, which I am just stoked about. It was an awesome interview, and ka-chow. Let's see. Fate Maker also says, yes, stash. He can have the stash and a soul patch. Oh.
Nice.
You're gonna.
So he's looking like our Nick.
Oh wow, so we're at a 798. Holy cow, guys!
So
Thank you.
Engine.
2 more.
Engine.
Rank them
Hey,
in.
a couple more. We might be able to.
Let me know when you get to 799 so I can unsubscribe and then
I'll take it to 798 again.
Yeah, but then I'll be able to resubscribe when you get back closer.
But tonight we brought the Showboys on because, like us, they are big Star Wars fans, and they love to talk about Star Wars. We love to talk about Star Wars, and we've had the opportunity to go on their show and talk about it. I don't know why, but they thought I should have come on for their Order 66 special, and I got to talk about that. That was pretty cool. They also had Casey Plot on, and I, again, don't know why you had me and Casey, because Casey trumps anything I have to say. But
Did Order 66 come with a side of fried Jedi?
No, it did not, unfortunately.
Boo.
But and the ice cream machine was down too.
Diced Jedi, not fried.
But so tonight we're gonna talk about the end of
Like some, you
Mandalorian
can buy
season
some.
3. We're going to talk about Bad Batch season 2, and we're going to talk about the upcoming season of Ahsoka. What are we looking for? What are we expecting? What are we hoping this is going to be? And hey, Larry, how you doing, buddy? Larry Hankin, famous actor. You know him probably most for his role as oh goodness gracious,
From Friends?
From Friends, yeah.
That is an amazing picture for your YouTube channel. Like, I love that.
So it's fun to comment from other yeah. So thank you, Jason. But anyway, so let's talk about that. So let's start right off with Mandalorian season 3. What were your expectations going into the season? Were those expectations met? And what are your hopes moving forward?
Michael.
Me? Man. So my expectations going in.
It's a season 3?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Coming off of Boba Fett, honestly, expectations were kind of low. So I guess I didn't really have many. I was pleasantly surprised with where it went and how much Bo was the focal point in the main story that was playing out. Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't really have many expectations. What about you, Nick?
Yeah, expectations I always set. Not that they're low, they just don't exist for Star Wars. I kind of like roll with the punches on that one. That's definitely where I've learned to settle. But yeah, definitely, the whole Boba Fett thing, kind of not retconning it, but making an adjustment. I feel like they did from the end of season 2 and quickly let's get Grogu back in there. So I think I really didn't know where they wanted to go with it, because that's kind of what the first 2 seasons were about, was Grogu figuring out his Force powers, finding Luke, should he become a Jedi. That was kind of that story arc, and they kind of just put a bow on that, at the end of Boba Fett. So really, this was kind of wide open, and I think some of the promos and the trailers leading up to is obviously Bo-Katan is heavily in this season, and they really kind of leaned into that. But overall, I mean, it's got its flaws, but it was really awesome. And the biggest thing that impressed me the whole way through was the action set pieces and their capture of scale in the otherwise non-trilogy Star Wars. I think they've done an excellent job in that capacity.
Okay. Stash, what about you?
My expectation is we're going to see Grogu and the Mythosaur doing something. I don't know what that's going to be.
My best friend.
But they definitely sensed each other at the end there of season 2. So, no idea.
Okay. So going into season 3, I had expectation that the armor was going to be shown off to be the bad guy, and she was going to be cast from Clone Wars, a Darth Maul disciple. I was
you keep saying season 3.
Going into season 3.
There's 3 seasons we finished just now.
Yeah, we've had 3 seasons of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, Boba Fett was like season 2.5
yeah,
of
2.5. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I wasn't counting Boba Fett because it said Boba Fett in the title.
Oh, we're not either.
But
we're not either. There are 3 seasons of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
This is not. We are not gaslighting you. This is true. You can check it on Disney. So, but
it's the ham. All those, all the hams go into the brain.
The triglycerides have weighed down the brain. We can't think anymore. And Stash, I blame you. You made me use a big word like triglycerides. How dare you?
That's a new one.
But yeah, so I expected Rookcast to be Rookcast, and I expected, and I was kind of talking about this early on in the season on our Discord channel, that I firmly believed that the Mandalorian was going to be Bo-Katan, and that the shift was going to go from Din Djarin to Bo-Katan, and it kind of did a little bit, but right there at the end, it went right back to Grogu, and and so now is he the Mandalorian? But I read something where they said Favreau. It was either Favreau or Filoni, and I don't remember who it was, so I apologize. But one of them said that the title of The Mandalorian was going to be a floating title because it could apply to several different people and going in, it would allow the story to go in different directions, which I actually think is a really cool concept, because now we're not stuck to Din Djarin's story.
Right.
Nick,
there's a lot of other places we can go.
Should we tell them our idea back in season 2 of The Mandalorian?
Yeah, because we did a companion series on season 2, and I think at the first episode we completely theorized that they should just roll with like a different type of anthology series. Like every season focuses on a different like Mandalorian. Obviously they didn't do that with like season 2, but they had elements of it because they introduced a ton of Mandalorians in season 2.
Right.
So they definitely like dialed into that idea in season 3. But it's not like a hardline rule.
Yeah.
They've remained very flexible with the story, and I think that's both a pro and a con to what they got going on there. It's a little too loose, but
I mean, just think of how awesome this would be. The first 2 seasons, we're following Din's story with Grogu. At the end of season 2, obviously Grogu finds Luke, or Luke finds Grogu, and they have the send off there. Season 3 starts. It is Din makes a cameo or 2 maybe, but the entire season is completely dedicated to Bo's story. And then seasons 3 and 4 are for Bo. And then maybe seasons 5 and 6 are like focused on Sabine after whatever happens in Ahsoka, or the timeline between Rebels and Ahsoka. And then you could just keep shifting to Mandalorians. They're kind of doing that in a way, but like Nick said, it's just kind of very loose and everything's kind of blended together there, but it makes sense to do.
I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to do with Sabine, and if she'll, after the season of Ahsoka, if she'll appear in The Mandalorian, because Mandalore, and
Mhm.
Mandalorian and all that other stuff. John says here that our producer John, that Grogu is the future of Star Wars. He'll probably help Rey with her new Jedi Order. Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
That's pretty true.
I think that as Grogu gets older, and I've seen some really cool concept art here, Jason. Jason says that Grogu has no interest in Jedis. He wants to be Mandalorian. I think he wants to be Mandalorian now because he was looking for a father figure, and he got one with Din Djarin. And I think that as he grows older and he has a better understanding that he can walk that fine line again, he might be the second Mandalorian Jedi, and he might be able to, because even though they destroyed the Darksaber, it's going to come back. It's going to be
He
there.
can lead all the Mandalorians against the new Jedi Order in a giant galactic war. That
It could be, it could be really cool. Yeah.
favorable storyline to pull out of the Legends.
Yeah,
So-
I think it'd be great.
I would like to add, I did see all 3 seasons.
Whew.
It was just they were so short. It didn't feel like 3
Yeah.
seasons.
That's true.
Well, seasons 1 and 2, I'll give that to you. That feels like one season at this point. That's just. I was like, yeah, that all ends with that season ends
Right.
with
Stash is like, I watched them all this afternoon. It was no big deal.
Pretty much,
So
yeah. So I'd like to change my answer because I was thinking
Yeah, go ahead.
we're still going into season 3. Like, what are you talking about? So going into season 3, I really didn't know what to expect. I was hoping we were gonna get Grogu back somehow because unfortunately Grogu is what made the show as good as it was, I guess.
That's your C-level executive Disney
Yeah.
talking. That's
Right.
Keep
And
Grogu. He makes money.
he did, and he got a whole bunch of new people to join Star Wars fandom as well. So
The baby made the money. So,
he
Yep.
did.
for sure.
I was not expecting them to go. Well, I figured he'd go back to Mandalore, but I was not expecting them to go that deep into the stuff
Lit-
on Mandalore.
Literally
I
that
see what
deep.
you did there.
I was both excited and confused by the Mandalore planet storyline, what was going on there. And I think that they did that on purpose, in all honesty. I think they left it open-ended and didn't answer a lot of things that they have something to talk about, something to do going into season 4. Again, I'm going with they didn't show me a body, so I'm not entirely sure that a couple people are dead. So with Star Wars, the way it is, unless I see a body, a pile of clothes, or them bleeding out, I don't believe that they're dead. Because,
Darth Maul, the Emperor,
somehow Palpatine returned.
the lady who got stabbed through the chest in Obi-Wan.
Clones are, for bad guys in Star Wars, clones are low-key kind of like time travel. Like if there's like cloning exists for bad guys, so they're not dead.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But yeah, well, in Obi-Wan, there was Reva, the third sister. She got stabbed, not once by Anakin / Vader, but twice and lived. Because when she was little and she was
In
a
the same
youngling at the
spot.
temple. Wouldn't that suck? You get run through twice, and then she stabbed the Grand Inquisitor. And then all of a sudden he reappears like, ta-da, everything's fine. Had a little journey with the Bacta tank. All is good.
They were taking notes from Ryan Johnson, like just not dead. Still
Not
here.
dead.
I
Mary,
did it.
Just Mary Poppins your way back into the ship. You'll be fine.
Somehow
Yes.
they returned.
Somehow, exactly. Oh, I hate that line. That's the worst writing.
That's why I'm waiting for Mace to show up someday.
It's going to happen. Somehow he returned. Okay. So yeah, I had high hopes for season 3, and I won't say that they were dashed. Some of the choices made kind of confused me, but a lot like Pixels, Nick said earlier, I've learned to roll with the punches when it comes to Star Wars. I enjoy the highs. I'm not surprised by the lows anymore. And when the lows come, I shake it off and I go to the next thing. I don't let that one low occupy my space for two I can't even think of the word I was trying to say, but anyway, for too very long. Like the episode with where Bo gets the Darksaber from Din, all leading up to the last 10 minutes of that episode was hot garbage. And the whole Jack Black, and what's her name? Lizzo. I have no problem with Lizzo. I have no problem with Jack Black. I just didn't like them in that episode. The thing with Jack Black is I either really love what he does or I can't stand it. I have like no middle ground.
There's no middle ground with Jack at all.
And so, so if Samuel L. Jackson comes back as Mace, there's gonna be all these Mother Jawas on this Mother Jawa ship. So
love it.
I applaud that. Well done.
One of the things I started doing was looking ahead because they would not release the titles of the episodes, which I liked. Until after you watched it, then the title would appear. And I'm like, oh, okay. They also kept the casting very, very tight.
It didn't appear till the day of on all of them.
The one thing they did let slip was the stunt crew. So I started following the stunt crew. And I'm like, hey, we're going to get a bunch of Mandalorians this episode and a lot of action. And there was even one that said body double for Christopher Lloyd. And I'm like, great.
They kept that one real secret.
We're like, Doc Brown's coming. We're getting time travel.
Though I will say, like, of an episode full of cameos, I was not expecting that one to pop out.
I was expecting them to use that virus in that episode a little more, other than just a localized area. If it can happen here, it could probably happen somewhere else.
Yeah. Can we talk about some of the cool, I think, like, bigger concepts that they kind of introduced this season?
Bring it.
So, we're talking about the Jack Black episode, and it makes me think of what's the term exactly, Nick? But like the
buddy cop.
No. What they did with the Imperial people, how they like reintegrating them into. Yeah, that was a really cool concept and idea of like
with
what happened.
Droids.
Yeah, or just like the people too, because the one lady.
The lady and the doctor.
They're like trying to reintegrate into society after being like the bad guy.
Thematically, that episode was really cool, but like it was really hard to pull off, and they had probably like the best director to try to pull it off, Bryce Dallas. But that episode definitely rides the line from like one more second too long on like a shot, and you're off the rails, and it's just not good. But thematically that was good.
The droid aspect, like both Nicks were just talking about, was super interesting in that episode. Of course, the whole power struggle between Bo and the former Night Owls that were in her squad there. The thing with Grief and what's going on back on what's that planet called? Wherever he was.
Starts with a V. That's all I can remember.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Grogu and Din stuff. I don't know. There's just a lot of really cool, like, bigger concepts that they were either establishing or diving further into that I think kind of get drowned out by some of the just random stories they either decide to tell within these same episodes, or we'll really be progressing on one of these concepts, and then the next episode is just like so out of left field. You're just like,
oh, agreed. Yeah.
That's like episode 3. That was the first one that was really, or 4. That was when they were on Coruscant the whole time with the Imperial, rehabilitated people.
Right.
Cool concept, but like just once again, like it's abrasive and it's like really tough to pull off, and it's just like it's like they throw in filler episodes that are just like action and fun for like certain groups, and then there's these filler episodes that are just like a little bit too into the Star Wars weeds.
Right.
Like, will the two Mon Calamarians ever get back together?
Oh, the Quarren and the Mon Calamarian. Yeah, the
Yes.
whole Romeo Juliet thing there. That was
Kind of interesting.
keep
Yeah.
your tentacles off the screen, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought with season 3 that they did a lot of really good things, and I
Mhm.
thought that there was like Mike was saying, there was a lot of really cool stories that they were kind of overarching on top of things. But on some of these ones, I just wish that they would have stuck the landing a little bit better. Now, I'll go back to the episode that I said I didn't like, the one with Lizzo and Jack Black.
6.
Yeah, I think that was 6. I probably wouldn't have had a problem with that if it wasn't so Jack Black over the top. Okay, and it was just, it felt like somebody let George Lucas in the writer's room. That's what it felt like to me. Like somebody let George Lucas in the writer's room, like he snuck in and he was like, I didn't get to use this storyline in Phantom Menace, so here we go. And
That's more like Filoni has George Lucas's notebook, and he just
yeah.
grabs a page every once in a while when they need.
he's got
Stuff.
the old coach's playbook for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, is this true?
Oh, he
Did we
did
hit
give me a
800?
warning.
Yep. 800.
Whoa, where's the confetti?
Congratulations, yeah.
Dude, we are literally like 800 and 400 videos. Like,
Oh, nice.
we got a nice even number going.
All right, so here's the problem though. I don't know
Either-
who it is.
Oh no.
Yeah, you got to set your profile to like public on YouTube.
Yeah. I don't know who number 800 is because it didn't tell me.
That means I have time.
So whoever's the next subscriber that I can find, that the name pops up, you get a Star Trek Blu-ray.
Now, Mike, unsubscribe,
I know.
subscribe.
Now
And
it's
now it works.
So,
Another thing that I liked, and I think Mike was referencing this loosely, but
I know who it is. Okay.
Ooh, nice. I can splash it out here. But so when they bring back things that George wanted to do in the original trilogy, but they just didn't have budget for, it's like all the Imperial like super troopers. That's how Boba Fett got born, because the all white super like stormtrooper was supposed to be Boba Fett, but they didn't have the budget for like 100 of those, so they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna do one, and it's gonna become a bounty hunter." But
Right.
in this, they were able to kind of see that vision to life, and we get a bunch of Imperial Beskar.
The
troopers.
Troopalorians.
Yeah, the Troopalorians. There's the good term for them. I
Every
like
once
when
in
they
a
do
while.
things like that.
I'm never going to be able to unhear Troopalorians. Okay.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's true.
But yeah, so I really think that they did a lot of good things in season 3, and I think I think looking forward in season 4, I think we're at a point with Grogu where he's got to do more than whimper and coo and say, like, he's said a couple words. They got to give him a voice. They got to let him start talking.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
He needs a new
yes,
button.
yes,
He needs
yes.
like a whole like stream deck full of.
Okay. The yes no scene, hysterical.
Very funny.
Oh God, I was dying of laughter, especially as a parent, knowing that that's how a child, because he's supposed to be a toddler before they learning how to talk. Oh my God, no, yes. I was like, yeah, that's fantastic. That's going to be a thing. So,
Where's
but
that
yeah,
toy at?
but I need to see him get to a point where he's able to go through the Mandalore trials. He's got to be able to talk. He's got to be able to recite the creed. They got to advance him to a point where he's more than just baby Yoda. That's what I'm looking forward to most in season 4, and seeing really what does happen with the armor, because even though we love Emily Swallow, she's been on our show, we love talking with her. I still think she's
Something's
she's
going
bad.
on with her.
I still think she's bad. I still think she's cast. I just don't think it's been revealed yet. I think that
I love that theory.
I do. It just makes so much sense to me, and that's why I'm not letting go. That's why I'm holding on so tightly.
Even the color of the armor like
Yeah.
vaguely mirrors it and everything. Like
The
whole
helmet, everything. I was
rusted
just
red.
like,
Yep.
yep, okay. So anyway, that's what I'm looking forward to in season 4. I want to see what happens between Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorian tribes. Do they follow her? Do they, even though now that she's lost the Darksaber, because that's the thing that supposedly binds them together. Is it able to be repaired? Is there an Ugnaught somewhere working on a kyber crystal for her? What's going on? Or an Azalian. So
Was anybody else expecting that kid to get eaten at the end of the season 3? Because like when he was in the waters that one
the
time,
Mythosaur.
yeah,
like the first episode,
Yeah.
he's almost eaten by that giant alligator thing. He gets carried off by the
crazy bird thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, the animals are out to get this kid. Like, we
Right.
need something else to happen to him.
Jason from Three Geeks thinks that we'll start to see the start of the First Order.
Nice.
I think it's on its way, because the New Republic can't last, and it fails pretty quickly in Star Wars history. So
They suck.
yeah.
So speaking of First Order, we should go into
We're
Ahsoka.
We're running out of time here. We've been talking about this for so long, which is fine. It's been a great conversation. But let's just touch on Bad Batch just very, very quickly before we jump over to Ahsoka.
Season 2 was so good. Better
Amazing.
than the first.
Nick's been
Possible
waiting. I feel
spoilers.
like he's been waiting so long to talk about the Bad Batch season 2.
Love that show.
I thought it was amazing. I thought the character development was better. I love the fact that they were actually treating Omega like a teenager instead of a small, incompetent child who couldn't, do anything. It was nice to see that progression with her.
Mhm.
And I got to see my boy Wrecker wreck a bunch of things, so that was always good. Wrecker's my dude. Yeah. So when somebody had to die, I was pretty happy that it was Tech. Honestly, I thought it was going to be Echo. I predicted Echo was gone.
Echo, I mean, they all kind of need to die at some point. But
Unfortunately,
but Echo for sure has to like slip out, because he can't just like bug off with Rex like he did for part of the season, because they can't end it like that because he's not with Rex in Rebels. So
yeah. What is Echo now? Like he's like 1.5 legs, a torso, and like one arm, and maybe like 3/4 of a head.
And
how much longer can that last?
A straight edge screwdriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's a multi-tool. He's like a Swiss arm. Go gadget arm over there.
I love Omega's bow. Though.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Yeah, they've done really good at making her an integral part of the team and actually making that a viable weapon. For her.
Super cool.
And as much as I enjoy Filoni's oversight on Mandalore, on the Mandalorian rather, animation is where his heart is, I think, and where his home is, and I think the storylines are done so much better on the animated side of Star Wars right now.
I think that's because he oversees all of that, whereas like there's a lot of other people involved with like Mandalorian. Like Filoni's a big driving factor in that stuff, whereas like Favreau, whereas like Filoni is 100% like the animated stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Did you think at some point that Crosshair was coming back this season?
Yeah, I wish he was. I mean, the episode he was in, maybe he's in 2, but the one with like the snowy planet,
the snowstorm was really
and that
good.
like I love seeing him, and like they're just developing his character separate from everything else going on in that series. But I mean, he'll eventually. Well,
I feel like they're
season 3.
developing a retribution arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure.
him, and
redemption is right around the corner for Crosshair.
And they're rounding that curve with him, and they're starting to bring him back. Like he's starting to see that although a good soldier follows orders, that there's a problem here, and I like that that the Empire, that there's an issue there.
Well, I like how organic they're exploring that for him. Like it isn't through a bunch of bouts with his old crew, right? And some sort of like come back to us type arc and pull. And he just like randomly just like feels bad one day. Like more so it's like over all these interactions with all these other clones, he's like just being eaten alive about it.
And the interactions that he's having with superior officers inside of the Empire who treat him like crap, even though he's such a distinguished officer because he's a clone.
Yep.
like the I call it the Hoth Light episode, where he's running around. But on that episode, that senior officer, I mean, just absolutely just treats him like rubbish, and you can see that really bugs him because he's dedicated his life to serving the Empire, to serving the Republic Army, now the Empire, and he's just like, yeah, this is. So I think that really aided him, and I think that's why he done killed him.
Yeah, that they did a good job of making that officer like everyone want to throat punch that guy.
Oh yeah, he was easily hated. I was like, oh yeah, okay, so no problem. When he died, I was like, yeah, no waste. Pick up his coat. You need something warm. So, but yeah, so I have very much enjoyed Bad Batch season 2 more than season 1, and I enjoyed season 1 quite a bit. But I thought the stories in season 2 were so much deeper, and they had a lot more personal meaning and a lot more depth to them. The thing that I'm worried about, and I know that it's coming, is that they've got us all invested in these characters, and I'm afraid that by the end of season 3 of the Bad Batch, that we will have to have said goodbye to all of them in a painfully agonizing way. Except for Omega, I think that she's going to push through for something later in the future. And I think we'll see her in live action something later.
Be cool.
Which would be kind of cool. Yeah, exactly. Jason from 3 Geeks. Well, he made 2 comments here, just real quick. Sorry. He said, they better not waste Thrawn. We'll talk about that more in just a moment. But he says he's got to go adult. Sorry, buddy. I tried doing that this afternoon. Really didn't work out for me. Love you too, buddy. All right. We'll talk later. But yeah, so I'm a little worried that as much as I like these guys, I don't think any of them are making it. And this is kind of like my measuring point for the clones. Do they make it with Rex to the Battle of Endor?
Right.
And do any of these guys make it to Endor? I say no.
I think it's possible. Either way, they've kind of set it up to where they have to go out big.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you can't.
I mean, unless they can break down in slow motion a scene and say, yeah, this guy is who is going to be this person. I don't remember. There's nobody in Return of the Jedi with, a half dark face that takes out Hunter. I don't remember seeing anybody with a face tattoo that looks like crosshairs. So that takes him out. Maybe Tech if somebody's wearing goggles, because technically he's dead. But we haven't seen a body. Technically. See what I did there? I did that. So yeah.
It was Rebels, right? Where they
had
had
Sci-Fi Remnant.
Rebels was the show where they had the one spin-off episode, or maybe it was like 2 episodes of like a clone that had kind of gone off to some distant planet, and he was like now a farmer or something.
That was season 1 of Bad Batch.
Was it Bad Batch? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was also in Clone Wars. A guy, I think it was season 2 of Clone Wars. Rex gets injured and he's brought back to health by this guy and his family.
I think it's the same clone.
He married a Twi'lek or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Darth Chocolate, they all want a better back for some.
Why do our boys got to go out in a blaze of glory? Why can't they
live
just
on a
go
farm upstate that has big fields they can play and chase rabbits and stuff?
He gets it. That's exactly where I was going. They're gonna go start a farm.
Well, I think I forget who the main bad guy is now. The like main cloner guy.
The scientist dude.
Yeah, that guy. He's gnarly bad guy.
Who just got his brain fried? That one.
No, he's still alive.
The other one.
Oh, in the animated series in Bad Batch. We're talking Bad Batch.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Rampart? No,
Rampart died. He was an Imperial officer. This is like the main cloning scientist that's taking over.
Yeah, we saw him especially heavily in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah. Well, I think the deal with the Bad Batch is they are going to take out that facility and really hamper the Empire's cloning abilities, because at this point in the story, we're before the original trilogy. Yeah,
Hemlock.
That guy, Hemlock. Yeah,
Thank you,
kind of
Chaco.
has that Nazi like Himmler kind of thing going to it. That's what it reminds me of. But
You
I think
talk to Hemlock.
Yeah. I think that's how they're all going to basically go out, because to me, the Empire just taking over the Camino and cloning technologies like that soon after the end of the war puts them too on pace to do too much with cloning, because it doesn't exist in the original trilogy really. I mean, obviously they don't cover it, but they don't really pick it back up until the end of the original
Mandalorian.
trilogy into Mandalorian, and they're still trying to figure out how to clone the Emperor.
Right.
So I think that's going to be their big win in terms of is like really hampering the Empire's cloning abilities.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to see what's going to happen with Omega and her sister.
Yeah.
So you have a sister.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm kind of, that one kind of took me by surprise. Her having a sister, because I
At least they
wasn't
didn't
expecting
kiss
that.
yet.
The sisters? Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. Speaking
Classic
of that,
Star Wars.
I'm in my chronological watch through for the month of May. I just finished Return of the Jedi, and every time through A New Hope and Empire Strike Back, where Luke is looking at Leia like, "How you doing?" Because it's more often than just one sentence where after he gets a little smoochy pie. Yeah, each time I'm like, oh, it's gonna get uncomfortable for y'all in Return of the Jedi.
The
I thought you
sci-fi
reminded me of
Jamie
my
and
mom.
Cersei.
Anyway,
And animation is obviously always top notch in the Bad Batch. That took me away from the
Oh,
first season.
some of
It's
the
just
lighting?
phenomenal. And then they just
Yeah.
continue it in season 2. It's just like the way they make the ships they might not even be animated if they just focus on the ships. Like they're right like a hair below Mandalorian stuff. So
yeah, it's just like a pinch below a CGI image. It's really well done. I think, and so for me, when I hear that there's a new animated Star Wars project, I get a little excited because I didn't used to be that way. I'll be honest with you. And if Kathleen was here, she'd be mocking me for this. But when Clone Wars first came out, I refused to watch it. It's a kid's show. I'm not watching it. That's going to be stupid. Rebels came out. I'm not going to watch that. It's a kid's show. That's going to be stupid. And now, if I rewatch anything in Star Wars, I'm watching Clone Wars and Rebels first because they're so well done. And now you can add Bad Batch to that list because it's just the stories are so well told. And I think that the thing that I found that I like about the animated series, Bad Batch included, is that they're the perfect place setters in between these major titles. And they fill in all these little nooks and crannies and have really good ways of exploring stories that you may not be able to explore in live action because of what it would take budget wise or some of these other things. And I think that allows for a little bit more in-depth of story. And especially if we get writing like we did the last couple seasons of Rebels, the last couple seasons of Clone Wars, and this last season of Bad Batch, Star Wars animation is on an amazing path. And I'd love to see where it could go next. So, and I think you could even include a little bit of Tales of the Jedi in that as well. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's like even more like fill in the nooks and crannies.
Oh yeah, exactly. The Yaddle episode, Yaddle and Count Dooku, and
that is 100% like I'm pretty sure that's Filoni pulling pages out of George's book. Notebook. Like that's just like quick filler story that he didn't get to put in the prequels. All of the Dooku stuff.
Dad had this one left over. Dad had this one left over.
This is 10 minutes right here.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm very excited. So yeah, Bad Batch season 3. I don't expect there to be a season 4 of Bad Batch. I think it's going to come to a conclusion next year. I think that they could pull it out for a couple seasons yet and kind of stretch this out and really delve into some stories. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're only going to get.
I think they said they're not. I think they said they're sticking at 3.
And these are 16 episodes, so you get a nice.
You're getting
and they're all 6 Mando. 6 Mando seasons at this point, or no, 4 between them.
Right. And it's, and they're all they're all like 24 to 26 minutes each. So you know what you're getting when you sit down. It's not, and I really want to see some standardization when it comes to Mandalorian, that instead of a 38 episode one week or a 35-minute episode one week and a 57-minute episode the next week, if we can settle in the 40 to 45 minute, just somewhere in there, and this is where the mark we're going to hit consistently, I think I would be okay with that.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think that's one of the casualties of the way that they tell their stories there, where it's almost episodic stories, and the season long plots are like very lightly sprinkled throughout. I think that's kind of why we see that. It's kind of like you said, Tim, pretty annoying though.
Yeah.
But the way that they present their stories, it makes it kind of necessary, because I mean, you could split the 50 so minute episode into 2 episodes telling that, one-off story or whatever. But
Right.
yeah, would love to see some sort of consistency.
I would love to see some of those longer episodes come to animation, come to Bad Batch, and have more time to tell these stories a little more in depth, and and see some of these things,
Yeah.
especially in this going into season 3, when if they're going to be attacking this facility and they're going to be doing all the things that we've just been talking about, having longer episodes to really expound that. Let's see. Darth says, I say the episodes should be as long as they need to be and no longer. We are no longer dealing with commercials or time slots. I'm okay with that. I don't know. I understand we're not dealing with commercials and time slots and all that kind of stuff. I just like consistency in storyline, and it doesn't hinder me from watching it. And I think that if that's my biggest complaint about the season, I think we're doing pretty good, really.
Yeah.
So it's not a very big complaint for me. It's more of an annoyance, I guess I should say. I'm very happy with Mandalorian season 3. There's a couple things that annoy me. Like I said, the Jack Black episode. But other than that, I could talk for like an hour on just why that episode annoyed me. We should probably move on, because I'm going to keep digging into that one.
Yeah. I will say before we move on, though, I think my grievance with Star Wars, at least the series stuff, that's my one thing that kind of like is a spoke or a stick in the spoke, so to speak, is just the way that they tell these stories, with it being so episodic and so many. I don't want to say filler episodes, because that's kind of like, borderline derogatory. But what I love so much about Andor, we're not talking about Andor tonight, but what I love so much about Andor is it was just one solid story across all of the episodes. It was like, that's what we're getting. I'm not gonna have a random Lizzo, Jack Black, Christopher Lloyd episode about zombie droids who are turning against society. I don't know.
The thing about Andor is that every episode made me want more. Every single episode, I was ready to watch the next one.
Oh, yeah.
Someone gave him the HBO playbook there.
Yeah, exactly. So we're running short on time here, but I do want to talk a little bit about Ahsoka before we move on to our conclusion of stuff. And let's go back to this comment here. They better not waste Thrawn.
That's right.
I was really hoping we were going to see a little bit of Thrawn in Mandalorian, especially when they started talking about him. I was like, oh my God. It was like almost like Michael Scott from The Office. It's happening. Oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah.
I really thought that was what's going to happen. I do understand why they're holding that off for Ahsoka. I totally get it. Doesn't mean I wasn't a little disappointed just because I couldn't see my. That's my boy. With name drops. That's my boy, Blue. But yeah, so I was kind of hoping that we were going to see him. I think, though, that even as much as I am excited and anticipating the appearance of Thrawn, who is one of the coolest villains of all time, in my opinion, for Star Wars, there's the red guy, there's Vader, and there's this guy. The red guy's Maul, for you guys playing the home version of the game.
You got the blue guy, the black guy, and the red guy.
Exactly. So, yeah, we got most of our single monochromatic colors under control there. So yeah, so those three guys, they're like the king of the villains, and so I'm really excited to see that. I'm even more so excited to see this as, and from everything I've read and everything I'm seeing, this is going to be like a live action Rebels. It's like a Rebels reunion. And I'm so very excited for that, to see Sabine Wren and to see Harrison Dula, and I want to see Chopper. I want to see a live action murder bot just go nuts on somebody.
Yes.
Choppa.
Yes, he should be both. Honestly. Honestly, Chaco. And by the way, for you guys watching at home, if you're not following Darth Chaco on YouTube and TikTok, please go do that. He's an amazing content creator and love his stuff. Chaco's a really cool dude. We've been lucky enough to have him on our show. It's been a while, but we love having when he drops by and comments. But I would like to see Thrawn as Ahsoka's villain, even if he's just kind of like the whisper of Thanos when it was in the Marvel universe. Even if it's just the whisper, and you see a few sightings here and there, and then see him in the the Endgame movie, basically with Filoni.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that he needs to be a pretty big portion of that, of that universe, of that storyline to help drive the Ahsoka story into the movie, into the Mandoverse movie.
Well, like that approach to villains is so effective. It just makes the impact hit so much harder.
Oh yeah.
And you're already starting to see that a little bit. He was, talked about, referenced in Mandalorian. So they're already starting to weave that in, which is cool. But yeah, Nick, I didn't want to. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I hope they give him like the Darth Vader gravitas. Like he needs a lot of like screen presence, and not just like an officer type feeling. So definitely
agreed.
echoing the whole like don't waste Thrawn. Like let him be this. Like really let him be this whole like Mandoverse like penultimate bad guy, or like the final boss kind of thing. Like build him up like that.
And I like the Vader reference too, because even though Vader doesn't have the most screen time as a bad guy, when he walks in, he chews up the camera. Everybody's focused on him. What's he going to do and how and why? And I think it has to be the same way with Thrawn. If you're not focused in on him where he's the bad guy, then you've wasted him.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue One, you can hate that whole movie, but you can be like, yeah, but that Vader scene for like 2 minutes, like done.
And I love that they got
2 hours.
I love that they have the guy who did the original voice
Lars
as the actor.
They're doing good with that.
And I'm very happy because I'm like, I don't know how you could beat what he did.
Right.
And
he voiced Thrawn beautifully.
And I don't know if you guys saw the BBC Sherlock, but he plays a villain for one of the episodes in that. And he did a phenomenal job in just being that very
punctual.
It felt like a Thrawn, kind of like live action type of guy.
And I've listened to the audiobooks of the rewrites of the Thrawn trilogy, and they're not bad. They're definitely like toned back a little bit and a little bit more even keeled. They're not as maybe fantastic could be a good word for as they originally were written. In Legends, but still very good, very founded in the whole kind of imperial bureaucracy kind of like talk. So now that he's that's firmly before Rebels, that's like pre-Rebels leading into, and then this is going to be like I've been in the unknown regions hiding, plotting. I've arrived.
I've been with a space whale. And just hold on before we say anything else or do anything else. Nick, did I hear you say you don't like Rogue One?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay,
I said
I didn't say that either.
Someone could say that.
Okay,
but you can snuff it out with just saying the Vader hallway scene, and then you've won your argument again.
I didn't want to have to kick you off the show, so I was just curious.
No, if I said that, you could totally just drop me. It's fine.
And he's gone. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the live action Rebels people coming back, and I'm curious to see how, because I really think that season 4 of Mando and season 1 of Ahsoka are going to push us towards a Mandoverse, towards towards the Filoni movie. And so I'm excited to see how they're going to build that up and how that's going to plateau into something, because if it mirrors the MCU at all in its early phases, how it ramped itself up into the Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame movies, this could be an exciting time for Star Wars and Star Wars fans. You know, so yeah, I think we have a lot of opportunity here for some really cool stuff. So
I'm super interested to see. So Rebels is probably my favorite. Well, Andor's my favorite Star Wars series, but Rebels is like very close second. And I'm super excited to see the crew in live action. But what I'm really excited about is we saw a Zeb cameo in
I loved
Mandalorian.
that. That was awesome.
So I want to see how he got there and then how he gets back with. I mean, I'm looking at the credit or the casting page here on IMDb for Ahsoka. I'm not seeing Zeb on here yet, but how do they have Ahsoka without Zeb? And you have the rest of the crew.
He's
They're
got to
going
be
after
there.
Ezra. Zeb's got to make it. I want to see how they like reunite from where we last saw him in Mandalorian. I want to know how he got to where we saw him in Mandalorian. Why is he now like this Republic, police officer?
Yeah, he looked like he was a pilot officer.
Just drinking at the barracks,
Yeah,
between flight patrols.
Yeah,
he's retired.
Captain Zeb. Yeah, I think that'd be cool to see. I think there's so many sub stories that we could jump off to in the in betweens of even these shows that are the in betweens of the major placeholders in Star Wars.
Maybe, oh my gosh, what if Zeb replaces Cara Dune as the focus of
the Rangers?
Whatever the show she was supposed to be.
Yeah, supposed to be the Rangers. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. And I agree. He was way too high quality to be a one-off. Yeah. I mean, if they were going to have a one-off of him, I think it would have been just a really bad, sketchy,
like in like a fighter in space, just like his head.
Yeah,
right? Like not full body line of
not
dialogue.
Full body, not dialogue, not standing there at the bar interacting. I think there's something coming for Zeb. So yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming up with Star Wars. We could go on, I think, for another couple hours. I think we're all big enough Star Wars fans, and we've had some nice interaction from our audience. So thank you guys. We do try to keep the show right around an hour, so we're a little bit over right now, but we're going to have to wrap this up. But before we start signing off here, guys, if you guys, Mike and Nick, remind everybody where they can find you, and remind them what you'll be sending to my house.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can find us. Definitely go to our YouTube, subscribe to Showboys Podcast, and check out everything else we have going on showboysmedia.com. We are on our way to 1,000 followers. Once we hit 1,000 followers, we will be giving this away. Brand new OLED Switch in the box. You also get the box. Tim thinks he's getting what's in the box. That's to be determined.
Bingo. Anyway.
No, check us out. We have a link tree with everything else on there, but YouTube's the place to be. So tune in.
And check out their Discord. They have a really cool Discord. Yes. My phone is constantly going ping ping ping.
Yeah, sorry.
And it's not just our Discord. It's great. I love the chant. I love the conversation. I don't always jump in, but I do like reading. I'm more of a lurker because I'm too busy commenting on my own page. But I kind of lurk and check your guys out and try to jump in every now and then when it's something I can get in on. But yeah, they've got a really cool Discord channel, so you're going to want to check that out as well. All right, Nick, tell them about last Friday.
Well, last Friday, we aired our interview with the director and producer, Kyle Newman. Kyle just happened to direct one of Tim's all-time favorite movies, Fanboys.
Fanboys!
We also talked about his documentary about the Star Wars Holiday Special called Disturbance in the Force, and how William Shatner was oblivious about any rivalry between Star Wars and Star Trek. So there's that.
That's awesome.
So you can still find that episode of the FSF PopCast on our YouTube channel and your favorite audio podcast providers.
Or survivors. They could be podcast survivors. You don't know. Yeah. Remember, guys, that your subscription to our channel is a major help. Thank you to everybody who subscribed tonight. We will be sending out a Blu-ray to subscriber number 800. So we're really excited about that. I got a name. I got it texted to me. So we're good to go. And they sent me their address. So we're going to be sending that off in the next day or two. So really excited about that. Thank you so much to all of our new subscribers. We're glad to have you. So that was last Friday. we've been talking a lot about Rebels.
She's
and
green.
Ahsoka. She's green. She's got tails. This Friday, there it is. We're talking with Vanessa Marshall, the voice of Harrison Dula.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Vanessa is so cool. We had such an amazing conversation with her. To say that she is amazing was an understatement. Because the conversation we had before, the conversation we had afterwards, and we talk with her about Rebels and being a Star Wars fan. We talk about her work as Wonder Woman and DC's Harley Quinn on HBO. We talk about her work as Gamora on Guardians of the Galaxy, the animated series, and along with a few other topics, like how did she get into the business, because she has two famous parents. How did that affect her growing up, and who her parents were, and all these different things. But here's another reason why Vanessa Marshall is so very cool. It flashed up on the screen just for a quick second, so it almost kind of ruined the thunder here. But she sent us pictures that we're going to be auctioning off.
Ooh, nice.
And so these are signed Vanessa Marshall Hera pictures, and 100% of the proceeds after shipping and fees have been paid will be sent to the Wish Upon a Teen Foundation, which helps out sick kids who are in hospitals for extended stays. They helped out my family in 2019 when my daughter was in the hospital for 97 days. It's an amazing foundation, wishuponateen.org. If you'd like to go there and directly donate, trust me, they're doing great things for sick kids. Your money is well spent. So we're going to auction these off, and I'll have, so stick around, follow us on Twitter, which is at FSF PopCast. If you're not following us already, because that's where the information will be coming up, that and our Facebook page about where these things will be posted for auction, how you can get them. And we're really excited to be able to send these things out to you guys. And, again, bid away, because the money's going to go to a really good place for very good things. And we're so excited that she sent these to us. And I also want to point out, because this has never happened in we've been able to do this a couple different times. We were able to help out some, auction off some Star Trek stuff. We've auctioned off different other signed pictures for actors and things. Nobody's ever sent us a thank you card before. That was really cool. Right? No, shut up, Siri. Nobody cares. Jesus.
I didn't get that.
I didn't get that either, apparently. But anyway, that's all coming up here very soon, and we're very excited to share that. And Darth, it is so freaking cool. Vanessa Marshall is amazing. And And does Shatner know about his feud with Tim? No, but I think if he ever figured out what YouTube was, he'd know that I don't really care for him. But that's another story for another time.
Beef.
There's some beef. And make sure you guys go to our Patreon channel. Go check out the bloopers, the behind the scenes stuff, the Stargate exclusive content that's there. And you'll also get early access. So you don't want to wait till Friday to be able to watch or listen to that interview. You can catch that on Wednesday on our Patreon channel, because Nick's going to go finish editing as soon as we're done here tonight. That look on his face is a look of maybe. And but that's supposed to be up there on Wednesday, so you'll have a couple day head start on everybody else.
I got till tomorrow night.
Oh, that's what I love to hear. So and remember, our Patreon goes from $1 to $40 with different levels of rewards, free merch on a couple different Patreon levels. So guys, again, thank you to the Showboys for coming on and having some fun with us. Thank you guys for being here. And I'm going to play this real quick just because I can, because we talked about Rebels. We talked about my boy Red. We talked about my boy Blue. I just love this. Kenobi! It had zero context to anything else we're doing, but I just wanted to play it because I could. Yes. And with that in mind, goodbye!
Bring Cal Kestis to live action!
Sorry. I'll second that. Now, goodbye!
On behalf of the rest of the hosts of the FSF PopCast, we want to thank you for listening to this episode. If you'd like to be a guest on a future episode, please contact us by means of Twitter or Instagram using the handle @FSF PopCast, or go to www.fsfpopcast.com and click on the contact link. Thanks again, and hope you enjoyed the episode.